Today, SCP-231 by TheVolgun. This is not like a very known SCP, but it's on the reaction list, so I thought, hey, why not?
Hello. My name is not important. I represent the Ethics Committee.
7 seals, 7 rings, 7 brides for the ScarletKing.
The item that we are going to be studying today is SCP-231.
They gather round the natal bed, the foolish and the wise. They fear the child yet to be born, whose voice shall rend the skies.
That's the ScarletKing
Object class Keter
thing, right?
The faithful watch the forest for the coming of the king. Their lanterns bright, they wait at night for the new world he shall bring.
Site and personnel requirements. Under Special Order of 05, the following addendum is attached to the beginning of the file for SCP-231-7.
The dragon waits in shadows. His breath will scorch the land. The hero in the castle draws his sword and makes his stand.
Yeah, so if you don't know, we did a video about ScarletKing not too long ago, and that's where kind of all of this is explained. So, you know, if you haven't watched it, you should probably check it out. It will give a lot more information about what is happening here, for sure.
All personnel assigned to SCP-231-7 must rotate out for 1 month of psychological counseling after 2 months on site. SCP-231-7 is to be kept at an undisclosed location. All personnel assigned to SCP-231 will be transported there blindfolded from Site-19 by a route including no fewer than 7 different forms of transportation, including, but not limited to aircraft, automobile, underground tunnel, and removal of blindfold during the transport process is grounds for immediate termination.
The princess in the tower is hidden far away, but nothing under heaven can keep the groom at bay.
Immediate
Personnel
termination?
assigned to SCP-231-7 must undergo heavy psychological testing before being cleared to enter the site. Individuals must score at least 72 points on the Milgram Obedience Examination, be unmarried, have no offspring, and express nothing less than total loyalty to the Foundation. Normal psychological screening procedures against Axis II disorders are waived, so long as the Class D personnel in question has the mental capacity to carry out Procedure 110 Montauk as needed.
That's
Personnel
crazy.
who express sympathy towards SCP-231-7's plight and or express a desire to rescue or sympathize towards SCP-231-7 will be transferred to another project without delay. Any actual rescue attempts will be met with immediate termination. Personnel who have served on the staff of SCP-231-7's containment team are not required to divulge information to others. No official record shall be kept of the names of any staff assigned to SCP-231-7, nor will said service appear in the personnel files of said staff.
They gather round with leering smiles, the soulless and the dead. Though her soul unwinds, the cruelest minds will keep her in her bed.
While on site, individuals assigned to 231-7 will be issued concealing helmets with integrated voice changes to protect their identity. On-site staff are not to remove said uniforms in the presence of other staff members. Off-duty hours are to be spent in private quarters alone. 6 D-Class personnel are to be assigned to SCP-231-7 each month for the purposes of carrying out Procedure 110 Montauk. Violent criminals are not to be used for this purpose due to the possibility of accidental fatality during the 110 Montauk process.
I don't understand what this is.
Containment procedures.
I don't know.
Following repeated escape and suicide attempts, and based on the failure of containment for SCP-231-1 through 6, containment of SCP-231-7 has been amended to the following. SCP-231 is to be contained within a soundproof holding cell, adjacent to holding cells for 6 Class D personnel assigned for the purposes of Procedure 110 Montauk. Cameras will monitor every inch of the cell at all times, and must be manned 24 hours a day. Malfunctioning monitoring equipment will be replaced without delay by psychologically screened staff. Doors will be magnetically locked, openable only by positive action by the control and monitoring facility. This includes all doors linking the main holding cell to those of 6 Class D personnel. SCP-231-7 is to be kept restrained to a hospital bed at all times, except for the purposes of Procedure 110 Montauk. Hydration will be provided through IV drip. Feeding will be carried out twice a day through feeding tube approved by medical personnel who have not taken the Hippocratic Oath. Under no circumstances are narcotics, anesthesia, or other unapproved medications to be administered to SCP-231-7.
The potter told his prentice to prepare him 7 jars. 6 he made with grace and skill. The last his hands did mar.
Procedure 110 Montauk is to be carried out at least once every 24 hours by Class D personnel. During Procedure 110 Montauk, at least one Security Clearance 4 231 staff member must monitor the procedure by camera at all times, although the sound may be turned off if the vocalizations of SCP-231-7 become too distressing. Following the procedure, all Class D personnel must return to their holding cells or explosive collars will be detonated.
The cretin moon no more is howling. Gone, its morning black. In their dreams, its face is prowling. Come to take them back.
Their neck collar will explode if them. Dude, this must be some crazy thing, man. This must be some insanely dangerous creature of some kind. And it seems to be heavily related to the ScarletKing. Which is interesting. ScarletKing is an SCP-001 recommendation that we have encountered, so I wonder how this is related to it. But it seems like a person, right? Because they're talking about it escaping, so a living creature, we should say.
Data expunged per order above file redacted unredacted. Information moved to iZone document
Stephen Hawking,
231-110 Mondoc. Access to 231-110 Mondoc is limited to personnel with security clearance 4/231.
Description: SCP-231-7 is a female between 10 years of age with...
The king is in his courting clothes. The brides are in their beds. The unborn princes wait in sleep to raise their eager heads.
SCP-231-1-7 were retrieved following a police raid on a warehouse owned by an organization called the Children of the ScarletKing. See article in the newspaper, Police Raid Satanic Sex Cult, Save 7. 24 hours after the rescue, SCP-231-1, real name, went into labor pains, giving birth 3 minutes later to SCP, causing a event resulting in confirmed casualties.
Dude, of course I know, it's the 7th bride, dude, I'm so stupid. This is, we've already seen this in the ScarletKing one, so this is kind of just something that we already know very well. So essentially, if I remember correctly, all the other ones, the -1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, they all died, giving birth to some like extreme stuff, right? While the 7th bride, I haven't given birth yet. I believe that's the thing. I'm not 100% sure. My mind is a little bit like a goldfish, you know, so I don't remember everything. But I think that's like the main catch of it, if you will.
Foundation personnel immediately took possession of remaining SCPs 231-2 through to 231-7, and based on notebooks recovered from the cult, instituted Procedure 110 Montauk to prevent future occurrences.
The hens were in the hen house, and 7 eggs did lay, till the fox crept in by dark of night, and stole the eggs away.
Addendum 231-A. Current status of SCP-231 units.
6 were broken by their bindings, 6 no more shall sing. Comes the 7th full unwinding, and all the bells will ring.
SCP-231-1. Deceased killed during initial recovery operations while giving birth to SCP. See Casualty Report for Event 231 Alpha for more details.
When the first had given birth, then all the birds did sing. Her screaming cries did shake the skies, as she called out for her king.
SCP-231-2. deceased. Killed during attempt to remove fetus of second SCP specimen, resulting in immediate event. See casualty report for Event 231 Bravo for more details.
I wonder what SCPs they created, man.
By Doctor's blade, the second bade a life into the world. Untimely hewn, neath a silent moon, the king's red flag unfurled.
SCP-231-3, deceased. Self-terminated. Following a prolonged period of distress caused by implementation of Procedure 110 Montauk. SCP immediately underwent an event. See casualty report for Event 231 Charlie for more details.
His bride, the third, remained unheard, her cries for help ignored. She stopped her life with a surgeon's knife and gave it to our Lord.
SCP-231-4, deceased. Attempted to administer SCP-500, although successful in that all traces of SCP were expelled from the system, expelled remains immediately underwent event, causing numerous casualties including SCP-231-4 herself. See casualty report for Event 231 Delta for more details.
I think it was like the 6 women before the 7th. There were a lot of monsters and different like interesting SCPs. But SCP-500 is not something I've heard before. So that's kind of curious. Maybe it's worth checking out, you know? SCP-500, what? I don't really find it too strange though. We already know most of it, like even when the red thing comes on and he speaks and he's like voodoo kind. I kind of understand it and how it's related to the ScarletKing, but it's like, I feel like we've been through it all. It's just more detailed this time.
The fourth prepares a dagger and places it at her heart. The perfect cure cannot make pure what the king has set apart.
SCP-231-5, deceased. Botched application of Procedure 110 Montauk resulted in SCP-231-5 giving birth to SCP 1 hour later, which then underwent event. See casualty report for Event 231 Echo and report on destruction of Site 231 Aleph. For more details, recruitment profile of Class D personnel was revised to minimize possibility of a second botched Procedure 110 Montauk.
The fifth one's crown was bearing down upon the fox's set. It then was sundered with a mighty thunder. An apocalypse begat.
SCP-231-6, deceased. Killed during escape attempt aided and abetted by Agent who had been exhibiting heightened stress levels due to prolonged exposure to SCP-231. Obtained possession of SCP and attempted to use said weapon to rescue SCP-231-6 and 231-7. Agent was killed in the resulting firefight, but a stray round resulted in the termination of SCP-231-6 as well. The features of SCP-231-6's SCP then underwent event. In the wake of this incident, O5 personnel voted by unanimous decision to amend personnel policies. See casualty report for Event 231 Foxtrot for more details.
On the 6th day, the
God
waters
damn.
gave way, and the oceans turned to ash.
That's pretty
Earth gave
wild.
work as the earth shook underneath the king's fell lash.
SCP-231-7. As of SCP-231-7 is successfully contained at
That was
Site
my alarm. Sorry.
Seventh bride will break the tides, the moon no more will shine. There comes a day not far away, she'll birth the death of time.
Addendum 231-B. This is a recording of a missive by O5.
Dear friends, it has come to my attention that recently certain rumors have surfaced regarding SCP-231. Due to a drop in staff morale, I have decided to address some of the more prevalent points. Yes, Procedure 110 Montauk is as horrible as you've heard, which is why only Class D personnel are authorized to carry it out. Yes, it does involve brutal. No, assignment to SCP-231 is not intended to test your loyalty to the Foundation, your tendencies towards, or anything else. No, SCP-231 is not a punishment detail. Yes, there are staff members who have been on SCP-231 and have successfully transferred out by their own request. No, not everyone who's worked on SCP-231 is terminated upon leaving the project. Yes, staff members who have been assigned to SCP-231 are allowed to take Class A amnesics before leaving the project if so desired. Yes, false memories are then implanted. No, none of the supposed methods for recovering or detecting false memories work. Yes, there are some of you who worked on SCP-231 and don't remember it. No, we have not given up trying to save SCP-231-7, but research in that field must be carried out with the utmost of caution. Based on the increased potency of each subsequent event associated with each subsequent SCP specimen, there is a strong possibility that SCP-231-7 event could result in an XK Class M to the world scenario. This information is corroborated in notebooks recovered from the cultists. See document 7 Brides, 7 Seals, SCP-231 Adjunct B.
I mean, can you just imagine just imagine though, at your, like, you know, your SCP Foundation application. Well, this looks interesting. You know, working with SCP-231. I wonder what that is like, you know? You're like, yeah, no, we'll try that one. It seems like it's a pretty good one to work with, and it says here it's like utmost importance, which means that my work will be really important. And then you go there, it's like, oh, hi Thomas, you again. Oh, it's 2 months this time. And you're like, wait, what? Yeah, it's like the 5th time you've been here, dog. Alright, let me sign you in. Just imagine it.
No, putting the girl out of her misery is not an option. Neither is drugging her. She has to be aware of what is going on for 110 Montauk to work. One final note. The Foundation does many distasteful things in the completion of our mission, but our mission is important enough that the price is one we must pay. Containment of SCP-231 is one of our most dangerous duties, not because of any direct danger to ourselves, but because of the danger that our resolve will fail. That we will allow ourselves to either let down our guard due to our sympathy for the suffering of an innocent, or that we will allow ourselves to become monsters through the performance of monstrous acts. Just do your jobs, and save the philosophizing for the shrink. Yours sincerely, 05.
Believe it when they say they're trying to save her. Why would they bother? They've got exactly what they want. Exactly. When they have it.
What?
Addendum 231C.
Secret message!
Update. 231-7's emotional response to Procedure 110 Montauk appears to be reduced recently, despite proper execution of said procedure, increasing danger of SCP undergoing a event. 2 options have been proposed. Number 1, development of a new containment procedure with higher emotional response than Procedure 110 Montauk. Number 2, administration of a Class A amnestic to SCP-231-7, allowing for a return to base emotional response state. Said memory modification is to be administered during execution of Procedure 110 Montauk to maintain heightened emotional state following memory reset. Please advise.
The Doctor never tells his god which one he really seeks. Instead, he hides himself away, and quietly he weeps.
Doctor. Addendum 231-D.
What?
Decision. Carry out option 2 at the first available opportunity.
Their god's own voice, he makes the choice, declaring with the word, in fear and pain, let her remain, lest she be like the third.
Oh, aftermath. Okay.
Addendum 231-E. Aftermath. Option 2 was carried out. SCP-231-7's emotional state returned to 100% efficacy. Dr. subsequently committed suicide due to heightened emotional stress. Will continue analysis of efficacy of treatment.
The Doctor's gun ended his run as he put it to his ear. As she was defiled, the pitied child, he gave it to his fear.
Dr. Addendum 231-F. Continued analysis of efficacy of treatment. After some analysis, I have determined that it is not necessary to perform memory modification every time Procedure 110 Montauk is carried out. In fact, it is better to delay for some time before re-administering the agent. Analysis of Subject 231-7's emotional response indicates that efficacy of Procedure 110 Montauk seems to peak between the third and fourth performance of the procedure. The dread of anticipation for the event seems to heighten emotional response for a time, before familiarity with the procedure begins to lessen the efficacy of the treatment. My recommendation is that Class A amnestics be administered once a week during Procedure 110 Montauk. The calendar has been modified accordingly.
Her memory a fickle thing, the strongest shall endure. When her weeping starts to waver, the drugs make her mind pure.
Dr.
Well, that was interesting, I suppose.
Thank you very much for your attention. You are dismissed.
See you later, alligator. So essentially that's what SCP-231 is. I think it's nice to have a more in-depth view of it, but I felt like a lot of it we've already seen. A lot of it we've already been in contact with. I wasn't aware that this was SCP-231, but now we know. And just for the record, there's many plausible theories that they have come up with actually what this procedure is. From anywhere from just doing the absolute most grotesque torture you can think of to simply pretending that it's bad and making people believe it's bad by implanting false memories. Regardless, I think it's a good video. TheVolgun is really good, dude. He has good voices and stuff. But there's not really much to say. We've already kind of seen it, so I'm just going to end it quickly today. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please have a like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Alrighty? Take care. Peace.